Now, not everybody was, happy about this release. Not everybody thought this was dope. Team Drake, the Drizzy Glazer community. A lot of people saying it's boring and puts them to sleep. I saw Aiden Ross, Drake's favorite music leaker. He didn't like it. We're not going to show his reaction. Akademiks said it was a bad move because he's supposed to be no round twos, and Akademiks think this is a round two. He's not dissing Drake, guys. He's not. It's just not. It doesn't feel like it. You can listen to the lyrics. We just heard what it's like when Kendrick disses Drake. We've got classic tracks based off of Kendrick dissing Drake. This isn't Kendrick dissing Drake, but Akademiks feels like it is, and he went on a rant, and they pointed out something that also Rolling Stone pointed out. They think it's hypocritical for Kendrick to do the Super Bowl because he stood with Kaepernick. They think that this is an example of him going corporate when he's supposed to be the Messiah. Well, those are labels that people continue to put on him that I don't necessarily agree with. Away from things that Kendrick has said in his own music, Kendrick's never been afraid of a corporate collaboration. He's had Nikes, Cortezes, he's had Reeboks, if I'm not mistaken. He's got a Dior or one of these fashion houses. He does stuff like this all the time. He is a professional in his space. But the Super Bowl criticism to me is kind of interesting because I'm one of those guys. Like I stopped watching the NFL for a solid 2 seasons after what happened with Kaepernick. I made a video. There's a video on this channel where I talk about Kaepernick in connection with this Master Ace song that I love. I let the NFL go for like 2 years. Easy. I watched college football. I don't even know if I was watching college football. I think I just let football go in general for a couple of years. Personally, I did. And then after a while, when I saw Kaepernick keep trying out for NFL teams, like he's still trying to get back in the league. Once he kept trying to get back in the league, now I personally believe that he's blackballed. I personally believe that a lot of these tryouts are, pomp and circumstance, song and dance, show and dance. I'm not sure how serious any owner would let him into their organization at this point in time. I'm not certain. I don't think it's likely. And as he gets older, it becomes more challenging. But I let the NFL go for a few years, and then I kept watching Kaepernick try out for teams. He kept doing it. The last time he tried out was in 2022 with the Raiders. All that stuff happened in 2017? 16, 17, 18, somewhere in there. In 22, he was still trying out. I think it's really messed up the way they did him, and I stand by his mission and his cause. But for me personally, once Cap kept trying to get back into this league that he felt did him so dirty, that didn't stand for the values and beliefs that he felt like he had, to me, that felt like, okay, well, I guess. I guess if the guy leading the charge is okay with the NFL, then maybe I should be. That's how I felt. I felt like, if Kaepernick thinks the NFL's an okay organization to work for, if he's fine with it, then I guess it's okay. I guess it's okay. Now, my personal beliefs on policing in this country haven't moved at all. Do I have reservations with how the NFL as an organization rocks when it comes to black people in general? Of course. I saw this thing on Boxton today on BX. They were saying the Giants have never had a black starting quarterback. They had one. Tyrod Taylor was the only black quarterback to ever start a game in the history of the Giants. They're a 100-year-old team. Yeah, there's all kinds of things like that around the NFL. But Kaepernick got me ready. I was like, yo, this is real-time example of some really messed up junk. And then he kept trying out. And then he kept trying out for teams. Like he wanted to get back in. So I was like, okay, well, let's see how my Niners are doing. Let's see how my Niners are doing. I felt like one of those people in Forrest Gump, in the movie Forrest Gump, when Forrest Gump was running all over the country. He just started running for years and he had the beard. I felt like how these guys right here look.
I had run for 3 years, 2 months, 14 days, and 16 hours.
I'm one of those people right there in the back. When Kaepernick was doing his thing, I'm like, yeah, we following Cap. Whatever Cap's talking about, I like this. I'm with Cap. I was one of them. I was over there for years. My Niners were pretty good from what I was reading online because I wasn't watching. I was one of them, and Cap was right out front, leading us to the promised land. And then this happened.
Quiet, he's gonna say something.
I'm pretty tired. Think I'll go home now.
That's how I felt. I was like one of these other people at the end who's like, well, what do we do now? Well, I guess we go back to watch. So I went back to watching the NFL. That's how I feel. That's just how I felt. Kaepernick is trying to get into the league. I guess things are okay. It wasn't my torch to bear. If the guy who was personally, I'm not going to speak for everybody else, but who motivated me to take, to essentially boycott the NFL for a few years. If he's still trying out for teams, still wants to play in the NFL, if that's something he still wants to do, and he's still actively trying to get in, if the situation was okay, or if the situation was fair, my assumption is he would take a spot on a team, and then he'd be back in the NFL. Well, then what's happening with everybody? Everybody boycotting. Is the boycott over? Because Cap wants to play in the NFL? For me, that was enough. And then time kept going, and I slowly started watching the NFL again. All right, that's my relationship with Kaepernick and, what he was doing with the NFL. I love Kaepernick. Kaepernick's a Noop. We're a member of the same fraternity. He's Kappa Alpha Psi. He's a Noop too. Lecrae's a Noop too. Right? This isn't no shade or shots at Cap. It's just what happened. And that's how I feel about people who criticize Kendrick for taking this Super Bowl gig. I'm seeing this spin from Akademiks. I'm not going to show the clip. It's kind of long or whatever, but you guys have probably seen it. Your local Drake Glazer community member has brought this up to you. That's what I see. If Kaepernick was still staunch against the NFL, if Kaepernick didn't spend years trying to get back into the league, I think the perception would be different. I think the broader perception would be different. And also, generally speaking, too, I also there's a book called Spook Who Sat by the Door. And there are all kinds of tactics that people take for the betterment of their position or the influence that they'll have to craft broader change. I'm not making a one-to-one connection. I'm just referencing something that broadens the scope of ways to get things done as they pertain to me when I see things and think about things. So that's what comes to mind to me when I see Rolling Stone. Shout out to Andre G too. He's an incredible writer. He's probably my favorite editorialist, to be honest, and it's been that way for a long time. Generally speaking, I like his profile pieces a lot. His opinion pieces are always well written, strongly argued, even if I don't always agree with them, like this one. And but that's what I see when I see Rolling Stone, and I see Akademiks pair it with Rolling Stone said. You know, it's because of Kendrick Lamar being who he is, and the issues and the breadth and range of issues that he talks about also encompasses issues that pertain directly to Black people, Black culture, the Black experience in America. Because he talks about these things. He gets labeled as this Messiah. He gets labeled as this guy who his whole goal, his whole plan is to carry people to the promised land. He gets that label. And I don't think that's a fair association, again, because he's never been opposed, as far as I can tell, to corporate alignment. He's done Nike. He's done Reebok. You're going to be mad at Nike. Everybody's been mad at Nike since Jordans. He's done fashion houses. It's not outside of his brand. This is a conversation that's being placed on him, and they're using this Super Bowl opportunity as a critique on him because of what happened to Kaepernick 7 years ago. And over the course of that 7 years, he has consistently tried to get back into this league that blackballed him. He has consistently tried to do that. Well, if the guy's leading the charge or leading the race, i.e. Forrest Gump, when this guy right here turns around, when that guy right there turns around and says, okay, I'm done now, what do these people do? Does someone else pick up that torch and carry that baton? Perhaps, but it's not Kendrick Lamar's responsibility to be that person. Okay. So Akademiks' entire point is that while this is a bad look for Kendrick, it's a misstep because he's dissing Drake, which he's not. And also he's doing this Super Bowl thing, and now he's over here attacking, Drake, and he's attacking the corporate guy, and he looks like a hypocrite. I don't see it that way, personally.
Justin Hunte is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunte is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping. Systematical culture views us radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dapping it. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, y'all, you don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunte is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunte is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.